Okay. All right. That way we know where that is, what it is, and I can try and fit it in here and not destroy everything when I get it wrong. Okay, so I don't like that. Let's push that back. Okay. 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 Need to look at how to get rid of that. Okay. Let's see. Be easier to see if I change the color of that. Do since I started with black. Okay, let's just go to white for right now. Okay, so go. Let's see. So it'd probably be same idea. Okay, let's see. Got see, I kind of I think that actually needs to change. So that to needs to go more like that. I don't know. I like it the way it is, though. I think it works for right now. Focus on this backwards looking thing. Okay, so let's make this one less intense. Something kind of like that. Okay, and the other ones are kind of going to be hidden, so it's not that crazy. And again, I set more. Man, that is not easy. Let's hide those. Real quick, let's just. Okay, let's do this again. So, let's see. No, let's do red. Okay, so let's start with this. Yep, got that one. And we've got that little one that follows it. Okay. Okay, so something like that. Because again, this is going to have a knuckle where it kind of walks. Okay, like this one. So maybe I should push it forward and bring it down. Something kind of more like that. Okay, so got that kind of worked out. Now we need to figure out this. So if that's there, don't really want to overlap that. Okay, so we got something kind of going there. And this is all going to be a little bit smaller because of perspective. So kind of shrink it a little bit. So maybe that. Kind of what we're looking for. Okay, well, we'll get back to it, but okay. So, okay, so what I will, that's that one, and that's the little one, so let's cut that there. So, let's see this. It's going to be doing that, and then we have the secondary wraparound, because it's almost like you're seeing the, so this is the top edge like this one, and then you're going to see this side edge coming behind it. So I'll have to separate that a little bit. Okay, so I kind of got that. Okay. So you'll see a little bit of this one here. So that'll be interesting. Okay, and that's not very important, but this is. Okay, that would be coming down here. But that would be going the opposite direction. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that. Okay, so then that wrapping around. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure, but I think I've got this at least semi worked out. So that would cut there. I think. Okay, this is going to be very interesting to work through. Really wish that would stop doing that. All right, so now that we've got that, let's drop this back to black. Just hide the line art. Okay. So let's see, got, I thought we made you black there. Okay. Just make sure it's clean. Okay. All right, so now okay, that's, I don't think that's totally hidden right there. So let's see. We've got the smaller digit. Okay. So got that skin coming up. Got the skin on the back side. Okay. We've got skin from the other side of the wing. And I really hope this makes sense when I'm finished, because right now it's looking a touch weird. Okay, so that one will go there, and this one would come here. I think there might be a little touch of one of those. Right there. Okay. Okay, so I've got the thumb. Man. Bat style wings are not an easy thing to mess with. Okay, let's see, let's just erase that. Okay. All right, so let's see. Okay. Now we've got a little digit there. And again, scan the wing. Let's see. Then we can cut that right there. All right, so we can cut it up here too for right now. For right now, that's what we're doing. We're going to cut that. It'll just be separated. Okay, that needs to. All right. Alright, so let's skip that. Okay. Now this dragon is going to take probably another 2, maybe, live streams to finish. It's going to be a long one, I think, because most of the time I've already spent on this is just this wing. But once I get this wing figured out, then it's pretty much, we're done with the line work. So that's good. Just need to get the wing figured out. At least well enough. It's in the back, so I guess it's not as important that it's figured out. So that's a good thing. It's kind of back behind, so I can kind of downplay it, which is a positive. Let's see, so this is going to be there. Yeah, that's what that's going to be. Okay, so we've got that, and obviously this whole piece is not going to be showing, so I can get rid of that for right now. I was just kind of using it to try and figure it out. All right, I think we've kind of figured it out. Enough, at least. We figured it out enough, I believe. I'm not going to, don't quote me on that, but I believe we figured it out enough to where it will look acceptable. So real quick, let's look here real quick. Where are you? There we go. Let's just copy it real quick. We'll hide that one, and we will erase these parts that are currently being overlapped by the front. And we will see how it looks. I duplicated the layer, so if I don't like it, I can go back and work on the layer that hasn't been deleted, or hasn't had part of it deleted. Obviously, that's just so I don't have to start from scratch again, because it's not as fun as it sounds. All right. Went a little too far on that one. Got carried away. Got carried away. Okay, so there, and then this. Okay. Now, real quick, just a little bit clean up there. Oh, I hate that. Okay. All right, so we're looking at it. I think that is good enough, honestly. I think that's good enough, although that needs to be going in the other direction. Okay, that right there is supposed to be this, and I have it going up instead of down, which it shouldn't be doing. So, jump in here real quick. And we will erase that back. And we will put it in the opposite direction. Yeah, okay, that's the right, okay, that's at least matching the anatomy now, which is good. Okay, we'll cut that a little short of that, I think. Yeah. All right, so now that that's fixed, we can zoom back out. So that is what it looked like before, and now that's what it looks like now. And the only thing I should probably do is kind of add joints to this, or a joint at least. Because these are meant to be like fingers. And there's a bend there, so it has to have some way to bend. Otherwise, you know, bones break. They're not exactly spongy. Well, you know, as you get older, at least, they're not spongy. When you're a little baby, sure, spongy, but adult humans, not so spongy. Okay, so it's got a little joint to it now in that version over there. Okay, so now I think that was like the last line art piece. So now we can kind of start to clean up some of the messier line art. Okay, so yeah, we'll get rid of that layer. Okay, the only thing is that, I guess, whoop, hit that. So we're gonna add a little bit of a thing to that. And then we're going to have to put in, okay, so that's there. That comes up, this is going down, and it ends up somewhere around here, and it's coming back around. Okay, so we're going to add that in like there. Okay, so that's looking correct. Okay, that needs to go this way. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I can't mess with that yet. I'm still on this layer. Okay, so real quick, this kind of comes out and curves back. Let's do that with this one. I saw something about this stupid thing where it does the circle. I need to figure that out. Get rid of that. Stop it from doing that because it's really annoying. Sometimes you hesitate for a second and then it pops that up. So not exactly a helpful thing when you're in the middle of trying to draw. Okay, so we've got this kind of set up. Okay, let's turn off the spines real quick so I can see the mess that is my line work. And if you're going for kind of like a messy hand-drawn, like on paper thing where you kind of have those marks and everything, like this is a fantastic look. I want it to be a little bit more clean though, so I'm going to go in and clean it up a little bit. At least try to. So that's all that. Thing I don't like is that I have to like switch to the brush to zoom, to use my zoom command, which is weird to me. I don't know why you can't just do that, especially if you're just holding Z, why you couldn't do that from the eraser, but it is what it is. Photoshop sometimes is weird. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this is probably gonna take me at least another whole stream to possibly finish. Not guarantee it, possibly finish. And part of that is like I actually really like this, so I want it to be really nice. And then part of it is just okay. That's that front wing. I hate that. See, like when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about doing something, I don't want to have to worry about that popping up. But I need to figure that one out. So right now I'm separating these with a little line break. So I know this one's kind of fun. See, kind of give that illusion of a line where it just kind of erased into it. That's fun. And that's kind of the idea I'm going for with that, except it's a little more extreme there. Probably could have gone a little less extreme on it. And same here. Okay, so we got those kind of separating. Okay, that's still a wing. Okay. And since these are in the background, I should just kind of mess with them a touch and then we can move on. Instead of pouring a whole bunch of time into them because they're not really the focal point. And that's something I'm still working on as an artist, is knowing when I need to like stop trying to put detail into certain parts of a piece, painting, drawing, whatever, when it's good enough. Like if it's not the focal point, why am I putting so much time into it, kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so I mean it's fairly cleaned up-ish. And this is a dragon that kind of has a skull look to it, so I mean it doesn't necessarily have to be clean. Because I mean maybe it's an undead dragon of some kind, so if it's a little messy, that's a good thing, you know? I don't know. Still kind of thinking it through, just kind of making sure I don't have anything like, yeah, see, like that one, that would bug me very much if I was working, trying to figure out why that's not erasing. Oh, something was on my screen. Yeah. So right now, I feel like that back wing is good enough. I'm doing a quick run through, make sure none of this is from that layer. Now we can go back. So let's see, we had, oh, no. Okay, so that's what it looked like before, kind of jumbled mess behind all the line work. So we've got that. And I erased all that out. So, yeah. And, yeah. So there's kind of progression through there. So I can hit these lines real quick. Because as you saw, there was some leftover in these lines. Not that it really matters, because I could just erase or merge it later and it'll put it into the line work with the rest of it. So this wing is now that wing. So we can, I don't need that anymore. Okay, so it's looking nice. I like it. I think it's looking real good. Looks better when you can see the, hold on, spikes. There we go. Now the only thing with the spikes is now it kind of playing, like they're fighting for attention back here, like the lot going on at the back of the neck there. And part of that I'm going to fix by pushing that wing back in space by lightening it, and I'll do that a little bit later. But first, turn those off again. Turn that off. Hit. Okay, yeah, we don't. I'll leave that. So I'll leave that so I can sketch other stuff on that layer later. Okay, so real quick, let's just get rid of some of these larger areas of junk. I'll call them space debris. We'll get rid of the space debris. And then we'll kind of focus a little bit more on the important smaller detail stuff. And this, let's, yeah. Let's undo that for right now. That's not what I want to mess with right now. Let's leave that alone for right now. Okay. All right. So got some little spots here and there. Some space debris down here. We'll shrink the brush up a little bit and we will start working on some of the smaller details here in a second. Undo that. Okay, so now I think most of the stuff that I can get with this big brush is kind of dealt with. So now we're gonna have to shrink the brush down and get in there a little bit better. So, switch the brush. Okay, so we're gonna start at the head, work our way. Around, okay. And I don't want to use that. Okay. And again, like, they don't have to be perfectly smooth lines or anything like that. It's kind of a gritty creature, so I'm not totally worried about crisp lines on everything. Kind of imagine this is also like maybe even a little bit ethereal in nature. So some faded parts of the line's not a big deal to me. But I do want sharp angles at certain parts for sure, so I do want to make sure that I get those. Kind of flatten that a little bit, give it more an angle to it. Okay. Shrink that a little bit. All right. Okay, bring this in a touch. And, okay. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. We are doing really well, I think. I mean, I feel like this is probably super boring because all I've been doing is I figured out a wing in the back. I'm cleaning up line work little by little here. So, I mean, it's not the most exciting stream I've done, but I think we're doing pretty good. I think this is going to look real awesome when it's all said and done. And that's really the important thing. It looks really cool when I'm done with it. That's the part that like you feel good about, you know. You want to feel good about what you've done. I mean, sometimes you only feel good about it for like 5 minutes, but hey, 5 minutes better than none. Because I mean, as an artist, I hardly ever like something that I've done, at least not like 100%. I like parts of it, or I like it for a little bit, and then it's like, but if you stare at it, then it starts to look awkward and like, oh, that shouldn't look like that, and blah, 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 blah. You start picking it apart, but hey, cut yourself some slack. Done is better than perfect. I don't remember where I heard that, but it was, I think it was like one of those meme like not your traditional memes, but like a meme, a written meme from some art page that I found, and that really struck a chord, hit home, however you want to, use your little saying. But that really hit me hard because I like my art to be like, I'd like to think that I'd like my art perfect. Um, and it never gets there. So one of the big things that I took away from that is like, I need to make art. I need to stop sitting here like, oh well, I don't have time to make it great. Why am I going to waste my time making something if it's not going to be amazing? Well, if you think like that, you're never going to make anything. Because as someone who considers themselves to be a professional artist, I have done artwork for people, little things here and there, but I still consider that to be, I've done art professionally. So even though it's not my full-time job, which I would love, so I have to make time to do stuff for me so that I can keep my skill level up or increase it. And if I'm constantly sitting there like, oh, well, I don't have time to make this amazing thing, I'll just not do it. Like, and even if I actually had an idea, which is rare, um, then that idea never gets done ever because I'm sitting there like, oh, well, I don't have 6 hours or 3 hours to like sit here and like put time into it. Well, yeah, but I have like 10-15 minutes. I could start it, and maybe it sucks, and that's fine. But at some point, maybe I come back to it and like, oh, that was a really cool idea. Why didn't I never finish that? It's like, oh, I was probably had no time to do it. So, well, I have time now. Let's start again, or let's like polish it a little bit. And I think those are really important. Just doing stuff is going to help tremendously, and it's helped me a lot. This channel itself was, or these channels, I guess technically, because I have multi-stream, were started to push me to twice a week come into my little office studio and make digital work. Because before this, I basically was never making any digital work. And I'd like to improve my digital work. So, can't really do that if you're never making any digital work. So that's what I did. I sat there, I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to set aside roughly an hour every Monday and Thursday, and I'm going to do this. So it's worked out fairly well so far. I think I've only missed like one day since I've started doing this, and that was because I was out of town. So, I mean, it's all about doing something. It's not about being perfect. And that's something that I've learned fairly recently as an artist. Maybe like a couple of years ago, maybe. So that's some of the best advice is done, not perfect for me. And there's a lot of different ways to say that. Obviously, done not perfect is just the one that like I remember. But I mean, yeah, finish something that is like, it doesn't have to be finished, as in polished, ready to go, hang up in an art gallery kind of thing. That's what I'm getting at. Is even if you just have time to start the idea as a sketch and you can't really get to it for like even a couple months maybe, like at least you've put something down on paper and kind of kept your creative process going. That looks a little too thick, so we're going to bring this in and erase that back. But yeah, I'm a huge believer in just get something down. It doesn't have to be an amazing piece of work. I just watched a video on like good habits for artists kind of thing. It was like a TED Talk kind of thing. And the dude was talking about Picasso and part of it. And he was like, most people just know like his big stuff. But he made, it was an insane amount of things. He made 8,000 paintings, like 6,000 sculptures. He made like thousands and thousands of different things that people don't think about when they think of Picasso. Don't want that to kind of, yeah, let's do that. I like that. I think that's kind of cool. Yeah. So Picasso was way more prolific in what he made than people know. And I think that's very important because like that was a theme that he played up through his whole thing, is like these masters weren't just making these masterpieces. That wasn't the only thing they were doing. They were making these random things. They were doing sculptures, like the ones that were known for painting. They were making sculptures and tapestries and all kinds of different things. And then not just what they were comfortable and known for. Like they were making all kinds of stuff. So like the big thing in that to me is like why is that they weren't just doing these masterpieces. That's the big thing, is like everything they did, like most people don't know it, but like the more you make, the better you are. And not in that 10,000 hours kind of way, but like accepting, like looking for criticism, ways to improve. Like, so you make one thing and it's really, really bad and you don't know why. You don't know why, but you know it's bad. So you ask someone like, hey, like what do you think about this? And then if they say like, oh, well, that's terrible, then ask them why. Why is it terrible? Do you have like, does it just make you feel something like that you can't explain, or can you explain it to me? Like, why do you think this is bad? Like, I agree with you. That kind of stuff I think is important. Like I've never been one who really loved criticism, but I never like took it as people. I mean, some people are just being jerks when they when they give criticism, but for the most part, I think if you ask for it, they're going to be gentle with you, I guess, and polite, and sometimes they might not even give you like the greatest criticism. Like you're gonna have to ask them like, please tear it apart, like tell me what's actually wrong here. And that's an important part of, I think, growing as an artist, is you have to be willing to take the criticism. And I think the best ones, which the guy also said, like the best artists that come out of these programs and stuff, they're the ones who ask, please, what did I do wrong? Tell me everything you don't like about this. And then they learn from it and they change it, and it gets like 1,000 times better. They get 1,000 times better. It's a whole thing. So I think that's kind of cool. And I know as artists, like it's sometimes we have fragile egos. So it's kind of difficult to sit there and be like, please tear this apart. It seems counterintuitive. But I think if you're willing to accept that criticism, especially from someone who knows what they're doing. And another thing I like is I saw, like, don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. I think was the quote, or something along those lines. And I think that's a good one. So like, if you know someone that you really admire and you think they're like one of the greatest artists or whatever, and this applies to like every field, I guess, not just art, but writing. But yeah, if you find someone that you really admire and send them, like if it's a professional artist or whatever, like, and you can get their information somehow, like send them an email like, hey, I would really like to know what you think about this piece or this writing or this poem, whatever it is that you do. Like, just try and get feedback from someone who you admire, you know, is really good at what they do, kind of thing. I think that that's a good thing. And sometimes, like, I mean, I feel like probably a lot of the time they won't necessarily email you back, but some will, and like that could be the most helpful thing you've gotten all year or all day or all month or all week. So it's worth a shot. I mean, don't hound them, but I think if you just shoot an email and ask, if they don't respond, it's fine. If they do, that's way better. And they're like, be sure to thank them for their input, for sure. Because no one has to take time out of their day to help you out, and it's really nice when they do. So I think those are really important things. I don't know, that's me. But yeah, I think it's important to know that like even the greats weren't making masterpieces every time. And I think that's important to remember for people, because I mean, the only thing we ever see is their masterpieces because that's what people want to see. So it kind of, it's one of those things where it's just, well, obviously they're great. They've done all of these amazing things. Well, they've also done a bunch of stuff that you're not ever going to see. And maybe that's the part that makes them great, is they made all of these really bad things or mediocre things that no one is ever going to see. And that's the important part, is making those mediocre or bad or terrible pieces that no one gets to see or no one wants to see. Like, those are the important pieces, not the masterpieces that everyone sees. Like, oh yeah, woo, it's the greatest thing ever, blah 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 blah. But is it? Well, yeah, it is, but still, the like, you kind of get what I'm saying. I hope it's like, it's not always about the masterpieces. When it comes to improvement, it's not about the masterpieces. When it comes to improvement, it's about the mediocre, the bad, the stuff that you thought would be cool, maybe, and just did not turn out the way you thought. And that's just my opinion, obviously, but I think it's a pretty solid one. And that's, again, my opinion of my opinion. Yeah, I think it's important to just kind of do something. And so I encourage you to do something. Doesn't have to be good. Doesn't have to be great. Doesn't even have to be moderately okay. It can be terrible. But do something. Because eventually you're going to sit there and you're going to be like, oh, well, this one is actually not half bad. And then eventually you're going to sit there and like, wow, did I really do that? Is that really mine? I can't believe I actually made something that people like. And I think that's the thing. As you do it, you get better at it. You do it some more, you get a little better. And eventually, it's good. Eventually. But, again, you never know. I think everyone learns differently too. That's another thing. But I also think everyone should make something. That's a big thing for me. I think everyone, doesn't matter if you make art, poetry, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. But I think everyone should make something. I think that's very important in life. Like, making money is awesome, but making something that someone can take like to heart, be it art, poetry, writing, like something that music especially, I feel like everyone can appreciate music. Maybe not specifically the music that you make. Maybe it's for a certain group of people, but music touches everyone. We all love music. And I think that's one of the coolest things. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. There's music that you listen to. So music as a whole is a very, very impressive thing to me. I used to play guitar when I was younger. I forgot everything. But I was always a little bit more inclined to make art anyway. So I'm not too terribly upset about forgetting all of that stuff. But I encourage everyone to make something. Again, it doesn't have to be like physical art. It could be performance art. It could be singing. It could be playing an instrument. It could be something. But I think everyone should make something. Because the world sucks sometimes. And if you make something, you're not taking away from what's in the world. You're putting something out there, putting hopefully something really positive. But I mean, and there's people out there who will not like what you do. That's just part of life. I mean, there's people out there who will not like you for just being you, existing, and that's extremely unfortunate, and people really need to get along, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just can't convince people to like what you do, and it's fine. You're not here to make something and impress someone. Like, that's not the goal. At least not for me, because if it was, I'd be failing miserably right now. Um, I think this is going really well. I'm just kind of cleaning the lines up a touch. But yeah, I think everyone should make something. That's a huge thing for me. I think everyone should make something. And there we go. Because again, like, there's a lot of things that we do as human beings that take away. I think it's good to do something that puts something out there. Art, music, writing, poetry, all of those kind of things, performance art. Like, it doesn't matter. Something. Everyone should do something that they enjoy and that puts something positive out into the world. At least positive in your mind. Forget what other people think or say. For the most part, if you want to improve as an artist, you also need to kind of look for criticism. And that's something that I've had to learn. Sometimes you just need to take some criticism. Sometimes it's very important to know that what you're doing is not the best thing out there. Gives you something to work towards, something to work on, stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm cutting like the lines a little bit here so they separate things. And then kind of going back and pushing it back up to it, but not going all the way on it. So that I know that that's where it stops, or that's where it kind of meets things. Yeah. You don't have to do this. This is something I'm trying out, kind of, is the idea. Like, I'm not sold on this. I do it on occasion in other things that I do, but you don't have to do anything like this. I mean, obviously, I'm not the world's greatest artist. You don't have to copy everything I do. You don't have to copy anything I do, actually. It's not necessary. Cut that a little bit more. All right. I think, let's see. That looks pretty darn good. I cleaned up a lot of the line stuff. We need to go in here a little bit, but I think that's looking really good so far. So we'll clean this up a little bit. And when you're getting close, obviously it's going to look kind of terrible, but that is all right. We'll kind of cut that right there and kind of bring that point a little bit closer. There we go. But yeah, I think improving as an artist is very important, at least to me, which is why I do this as I do this twice a week because I wanted to improve my digital work. So this gives me, I've set time aside every week to do this. So I put that back in. Okay, so that I want to bring closer to that. Let's go up here because this is the other side of the wing. Okay, that's a little bit better. Oops. And grab that one. Okay. We're just making small little line cuts now because I went a little overboard. Made it kind of a large gap. I want it to be a smaller, less noticeable. Whoop. Something a little bit more like that. All right, so I'm gonna hit this one real quick. Okay, we'll move this one. Nope. No. There, that's a little better. And we can put this back in like that. And move these back that way. Okay. I think that's looking a lot better. And that should get in really tight there. Again, I don't want too big of a gap. This is getting a little too into it, but zoom back out. Okay. Okay, I think we've fixed, for the most part, the overly large gaps that I didn't want. Real quick, let's get in here. Bring that back up, and then, okay, there we go. All right, so we've kind of got that all situated. Whoa. Jumping around a little bit. Okay, that's not too bad there.
made you breakfast and your lunch is ready? Because aren't you supposed to leave in 15 minutes? What do you mean?
Normal time? Okay. That's that one. Okay. Let's clean this up. All right. Get rid of some of the space debris. Back over to here. Back up to this one. Back over here. All right. So let's see. Going to okay, I think that is going to be it for today. So let's look at, see if I push that back, it's a little less crazy. Yeah. Okay. And I could, like when I change the color of things, when I go into color things, I can kind of see how I can make that work a little better too, because it is still kind of muddy, I guess, as far as like visually it's kind of hard to see what's going on there. But let's see. I feel like we've come quite a ways from our original sketch there. So next time I will start working on like flat colors, seeing what I want, I think will be what we're doing. Oh. Could probably put in like the belly lines and whatnot, but I don't even know if I really want those in there. Although I do kind of like the skeletal look it gives to the neck. So let's grab this real quick. Alright, that one there. Something kind of like that. I don't know, something like that. Maybe, we'll see, I don't know. It's not the worst thing, but I'd have to put a little bit more effort into it. Oops, no. No. Oh, okay. So, thank you everyone who stopped in and saw what was going on, checked it out. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I hope you come back. I'll be working on this again. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever it is from wherever you are. Yeah, I'll be back on Monday. Hope to see you guys then, and have a good one. Thanks for stopping in.